ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we have our family podcast, Big Sam and Nephews. Big Sam and Nephews is sponsored by My Guy Market here in Fresno, California, at 504 East Belmont Avenue in good old Fresno, California. They have the wonderful, they have the sandwich, which is called the Checkmate, which is a yummy Texas-style short rib sandwich. I've had that sandwich. It's very meaty, very, very meaty. But these are sponsored.
Texas style.
Texas style. Floyd Sanchez is the owner and operator of My Guy Market here in Fresno, California, at 504 East Belmont Avenue. And I want to introduce our cast of characters. My nephews are down in Atlanta.
What up, though?
And they're Javier, who's the chief engineer. I wouldn't be on. If it wasn't for Javier, I wouldn't be on. Simple as that. No lie. Just saying.
That's me.
And then my other nephew, Parker, I would not. He's a wonderful guy too. And then he's not old age wise, but I've known him for a long time. Nate Marlowe up in Sacramento. How you doing, Nate?
The wise Nate.
I was making you like an old guy. No. You're not. How old are you? Never mind. Don't ask me.
You know, in Hollywood, I will tell you. I will be honest. In how honest I'm going to be. How long have you known me, Sam?
Oh my gosh, over 40 years.
Y'all are old.
Over 40 years.
Yep. And guess what?
Yeah, because I knew your parents. I knew your parents very well. They were good people.
So over 40 years, right? Over 40 years. Okay.
Over 40 years.
All right. In Hollywood, I'm 45. Absolutely.
He said I'm 45.
Hollywood, I'm 45.
He said I'm 45 going on 47.
Sometimes I'm the police officer. Sometimes I'm the police captain.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. What's up, Cap? What's up, Cap?
There you got it.
What's
there
up,
you got
Cap?
it.
That's his new name, Cap.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
A couple of
as long as they're paying me.
A couple of weeks ago, guys, I talked about the teams that were
fraudulent,
bogus in the NFL, and it's holding true.
All right, let's recap the bogus.
Go ahead, go for it.
Let's recap. Okay,
Jets are bogus.
Yeah, Jets
even though they won, but you got to look at who they played. They played the hapless. New England Patriots.
No, so the Patriots won today.
The Patriots won?
Yeah, by 3. Yep.
Well, it even confirms even more so what I said about the Jets then.
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers is done.
This is last year of the contract. This is last year of the contract, though, right?
Right. So,
yeah.
I mean, they're gonna have to get another quarterback. They're in trouble.
I mean, just go to him. Just play Zach Wilson. Just play Zach Wilson and let him get better. He needs experience, but he needs to learn how to play quarterback. I think he'll be
Zach
decent.
Wilson the guy? Was he the guy who was like the first or second pick of the draft?
Yeah, a couple of years ago for the Jets.
Right. But they blew it on him. They picked him. He was not their guy.
They took him too early.
I mean, he was their guy, but he turned out to not be their guy because, what he did in college is different than what he did in the pros.
Well, I'll tell you this though. 2 years, who's their wide receiver? He had over 1,000 yards every single year. Zach Wilson led the team to 6-10, 7-9. Like seriously, I get it that you gave up on Zach Wilson to get, a Hall of Famer. But you're still in the same boat. You're still in the same. You're 2-5 right now. You're 2-5. So
Is
Well, I
that
think-
is that all the quarterback's fault though?
no, it's not. But
But it's a major factor though.
yeah, I mean,
Okay,
I
all right.
at this point in time, last year or year before last, Zach Wilson, they were 500 team with the same team,
Okay.
essentially. So, is Zach Wilson good? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, you gave up on a kid. It's like Zach Wilson, I would akin to Alex Smith, where Alex Smith came into the situation trying to be the savior at age 21 of an NFL franchise that is steeped in history, and you couldn't get it done because you don't know the NFL game. Alex Smith turned out to be a good NFL quarterback, like a really, really good NFL quarterback, a top 10 NFL quarterback. And then, you know what I'm saying? But he had to take time to learn how to play the position. And I think
Right.
that's the thing. I mean, most of the kids, I think that's what needs to happen.
But I mean, but you're missing a huge factor with Alex Smith at least. You got to have the right coach who knows how to get to these guys. And like when Alex Smith left the 49ers, like he was a decent quarterback. But like when he got with Andy Reid, Andy Reid went to Kansas City and he had Alex Smith for that years. Like he changed them. You know what I'm saying? Like, granted he got hurt, before, but like he really kind of revolutionized his game, you know what I'm saying? To where he's able to kind of play the position at a level and be able to pass the torch on to Patrick Mahomes, who, now we see what happens when he gets under a good coach.
Right.
I think it's that coaching staff, man. That coaching staff. I'm just not a fan of that coaching staff up there in New York or the Jets, I should say, the other New York team.
Well, both New York teams are terrible.
Oh no, they're both trash. Both those coaching systems got to go.
Yeah. What other frauds do we have? We have Seattle. Seattle's a fraud.
Are they?
Yeah. They got waxed today. Detroit's the truth.
Oh, but Detroit's the truth.
Yeah, Detroit,
Detroit's
man.
for real.
They put 52 up on them fools today, man.
Bro, they had 42 at the half.
Well, I think Detroit now is because we see now Minnesota lost the other night on Thursday Night Football. They lost again, so Minnesota is a good team, not a great team.
Minnesota.
They started out hot.
They are who we thought they are.
But what happens is, like I said, they fade.
What
we knew this was gonna happen.
Right. What do you think about that Cleveland? What do you think about that Cleveland pull out today against Baltimore? And man, your boy was going crazy. Baltimore's 5-3, but man, Jameis Winston went bananas today. Went for like 300 yards, 3 touchdowns.
But he's no slouch though.
He ain't no slouch. He ain't no slouch.
He's just weird.
No, he didn't throw any interception. Let me see. I'm looking at the stats now. He did not throw any interceptions, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think he threw an interception. I don't think he had a turnover.
No.
And that's his problem. His problem is turnovers.
That's all Jameis Winston's known for. Like, what did he go 27 and 27? Like 27. Was it 27? Was it 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions or something like that?
Yeah, man, he got them Brett Favre numbers.
Well, the other thing is, you got to look at Brock Purdy's going to come up. His rookie contract will be up after this year.
Right.
So San Francisco is going to have to make some really, really hard decisions on their quarterbacks, on their whole team.
Right. Right. And what's the rest of they're going to go?
They can't keep being over the salary cap as much as they are and not have any results.
Right.
And not just going to the Super Bowl. But like I said, I was telling a friend at work yesterday about San Francisco. San Francisco has a window of opportunity, right?
Yep.
which is about 5 years. I'll just say 5 years.
About to
Well,
close.
We've been at this for 5 years.
So what happens is guys want more money and injuries. That befuddles your program.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I was just
Yeah.
talking to somebody else about that. You know, I think the reason why the 49ers are so banged up, you know, just in recent history is because we go so deep into the playoffs. Like, you know, you got to think about how much wear and tear that holds on your body, especially as an NFL player. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the most, you know, contact sport out here. And to go from, you know, 17 games to stretching it out to almost 20 games, like, that's a lot on your body. Then a turnaround to get back up to go to OTAs and mini camps and things like that in like 3 months. Like, you really ain't got a whole lot of room to like rest like that.
Right.
So I think we are just suffering from, you know, being elite for so long. And, you know, and that goes back to your point. Like, you know, you got that window of opportunity. Like, that's why great teams win in those windows of opportunity. Like, they already know, okay, someone's gonna be hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we've been hitting the ground so hard for, you know, the last 4 or 5 years. Like, now you're starting to see the Ayuk get the, you know, granted that's a different injury, but you're getting the Brandon Ayuk's being banged up. You're getting the, you know, the Devo is being banged up, Kittle's banged up. So, like, I mean, I'm not surprised. It sucks, but I'm just not surprised that it's happening now.
I think also, well, actually, I don't think, but I wonder, because I don't know, if when you are perceived to be the most talented team in the game, you've been to a few Super Bowls over the last 5 or 6 years, I wonder if the teams that are playing you turn it up just a notch, at least, just a notch.
Of course. You always got a target on your back.
And so that also could contribute, at least to some degree anyway, to, you know, their injuries, the lack of rest, and going and every week, whoever you're playing is giving you their best.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I mean, it's a grind. I mean, it's a grind. I mean, this is why, you know, this is why they get paid the big bucks, because this is part of the mental stress that they need to go through and the grind of making it happen. So, I mean, I think for them, man, you know, the injuries is part of the game. So you have to have a deep squad, but with that comes, you know, a good budgeting system. And the problem is that, you know, now everybody's, I'm gonna hold out to get paid. I'm gonna hold out to get paid. And they, you know, they put the team inside of a bad place where it's like, okay, we got to make this decision with this one player, but we only have this, you know, you only have this 3 or 4 year window because everybody's going to want to raise because,
Right.
you know, of market value of,
Right.
I mean, and the one thing about Tom Brady, the genius he is, and the reason why he has 7 Super Bowls is because he took less money to make sure that
Right.
other people came in so he could win. He's still,
Right.
I mean, what is $10 million less? I mean, think about it.
Well,
What's $10 million less
But
when you got it on the back end? So hear me out. So everybody's getting it all on the front end.
Yep.
You're gonna get it. You're gonna get and more. You're gonna get it on the back
and
end.
more. Yep.
And while we're doing this, I'm still chasing greatness. I mean, did I like Tom Brady at all the time? No, but you can appreciate it now. You know what I'm saying? I can appreciate
Oh yeah.
his greatness and everything that he was doing. Is he the greatest quarterback ever? No, not to me. But I'm just saying.
But if you're gonna say he's the GOAT,
who would you say is the greatest ever?
Joe Montana.
right? But he's not. He's probably the best quarterback, winningest quarterback, but he's not the greatest.
Oh yeah.
Because, you know, there's too many. To me, there's too many unknowns. You know, why not say that Walter Payton was a great Emmitt Smith is another one that doesn't get a lot of credit. Jim Brown doesn't get a lot of credit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Lawrence Taylor.
LT, I think if you're a nerd of NFL or stats, when you look at LT of the stats and the eye test,
well,
it's like, whoa.
Lawrence Taylor would be my pick as far as the greatest one-man player to play. And he won a Super Bowl.
No doubt.
2. I think he got 2.
You know?
He got 2, yeah.
Yeah, he got 2. I mean, he changed the game.
More, yeah, he did. More than anybody. Taylor just seemed like he could play defense by himself.
Oh yeah.
He was that throwback. He was a throwback player with a newer, faster body. So he was Jack Tatum. He was all these guys that you love to see play football. Deacon Jones, you know, he had that motor. So he had that Deacon Jones in him. He had that. But then he could play linebacker, and then he could rush the passer. Then he could drop it. You know, he could do everything. So that set him apart, and then that set him on. And then he's big, but he wasn't humongous like the other guys.
The other thing is too, is that I'm not taking anything away from Tom Brady, but he had to have other people. Like a situation, for instance, with Seattle. Seattle should have won 2 Super Bowls.
Right.
But I think it's just my own opinion. I don't think they wanted to give that MVP to Marshawn Lynch.
I agree. I agree. Like we can't have this dreadhead going to representing us going to Disney World. Hell nah. With gold teeth? Nah, man.
He bring the whole hood with him.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about it now, Marshawn Lynch is doing everything.
Yo, Marshawn is like Snoop Dogg.
Yo.
What's he doing?
Oh man,
commercials.
Marshawn got that back end money.
He has invested his money very, very well.
Now keep it one. Now he's been doing that since when he was at Cal Berkeley. I think they started talking about investments when they were all in college. So between him, Aaron Rodgers, all of those guys, they were talking about the investments and how to invest money while they were in college. And then when he got to the NFL, everybody thinks that he's just some hood dude. And I was like, he's really not. It's just his persona. Yeah, he's just his persona that people throw out there. And he got with some people that knew how to point him in the right direction. He listened. He's not a flashy guy like that. You know, he's not a, you know, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna take my paychecks. I mean, he did what he had to do with his paychecks. He knew we had commercial money. So I mean, that's the biggest thing. Hey, can I say one thing?
Go ahead.
So Saturday, was it yesterday? Friday, man, Amir Abdul-Rahim, man. That was one of my little homeboys. You know Amir. He was Sharif Abdul-Rahim's second brother. The second. He passed away, man, of complications from a surgery. And he was a coach at UC University of South Florida. He just became the coach, and man, he was an upcoming coach. Everybody had their eye on him to be a great coach. He took he's been on the staff of Georgia Tech.
He was standing very well too, and I'd like to give my regards.
Yep.
I'm sorry that happened.
Yeah, they just had the funeral
Absolutely.
They just had the funeral this morning. I missed it. I didn't know, but they just had the funeral this morning. I sort of would have went, but yeah, man, I got home Friday evening and saw it on ESPN. Man, I almost broke down crying.
Yeah. I mean, like we, you know, me and Javier, you know, of course, we know their entire family. But like, man, he really took like Kennesaw State and put them on the map.
Yeah.
Being the head coach up there, so you know he's done a lot for everybody in our community. Plus, you know, the basketball community, basketball world, he's very known
Yeah.
all over the place. So, you know, it's pretty tough. But you know, definitely, you know, prayers going out to the family.
No doubt.
You know,
That's really too bad. Doesn't make it any easier. There was, from complications of surgery, unless the surgery was
only
to
42 also, man.
Yeah,
Young.
42, 43 years old, man.
43, yeah.
unless the surgery was required to save his life. Will probably take a long time to get over.
The Redskins, the Redskins just won.
Oh.
No, thank God.
Redskins just won. I'm sorry.
That was a good game.
No.
That's a good game. That game was exciting. Did they just win?
Yeah,
yep, they're playing. Well, they were playing. Scored 18-15 Redskins.
Wow, they got a touchdown at the end?
Yeah, the quarterback was scrambling, no time, threw a Hail Mary, got tipped, and then the receiver was behind the pack, and there you go.
Damn,
they
just
actually Chicago was about to be 5-2.
Yeah,
so they're showing the highlights right now.
Yeah,
there you go.
Man, I think we've seen a new little rivalry between those guys.
Hey man, them two Hey, look, them two. You know what I'm proud of, and this is what I'm proud of, that the teams, usually, and Drake May is good. Don't get me wrong, Drake May is good.
Oh, he's solid, yeah.
But most of the time when you have these analysts like Mel Kiper.
Right.
He starts rating people, and then everybody's rated 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Oh, he's not that good. He can't do this. He can't do that. And then you have the great white hype come through and be like, nope. But this guy, not saying Drake May is not. He could have been number 1 in another year, but he's not better than these two dudes. He ain't better than them two dudes at all. At all. And I like Drake May.
Well, let's just be honest. If you're going to talk about it, I talked about this yesterday with my coworker. I said, if you're going to be honest, the best quarterback, period, is Pat Mahomes. And then I'd say the second best quarterback is Jackson.
Yeah.
But they keep trying to now there are some Caucasian quarterbacks that are good. Mm-hmm. Like Detroit's got one.
Yeah.
He's a very good quarterback. The boy, the guy from Buffalo.
Yeah.
Good quarterback.
You're a bad boy.
But you are saying, like, when he scrambles, it's like, oh, it's a fantastic play. But when a person of color scrambles, well, he got out of the pocket, he was too antsy. It's like, what?
Yeah. He should have hung in there a little.
What game were you watching?
He should have hung in there a little bit more.
If you're gonna be honest about football in the game, people gotta understand we dominate as a people. They didn't want to, and I'll go way back before my time. I'm gonna give you a little lecture now. Before my time, Jackie, they didn't want anybody of color to come in and play baseball. And they did Jackie Robinson. They said some outlandish stuff to him. Outlandish. I'll use the word outlandish. But when he got in and got going, he dominated too.
Oh yeah.
But my point is that they're afraid because they know that and I'll go even further. Look at the NBA. Top 10 scorers, all black people. Top 10.
Facts.
Now, and I got nothing but love for Larry Bird. But for every Larry Bird that comes along, but it's like anything else. And my mother always told me that if you are black, you have to work extra hard. I didn't make the rules. That's just the way it is.
But you also got to look at the way.
I'm not getting on a color trip but it is
Well,
about color.
but it is about. I mean, it's about color, but it's also about our natural ability. You know, it's I was just at the my wife and I were watching some kids play football at the park, and you can see from a young age
For
like
sure.
the natural ability from like I mean these kids couldn't be no more than like 12, 13, but like the natural speed and natural
But
ability like
what happens
it
is that in sports, they say sports is the equalizer, and sports keeps us off of politics and all that. No, it doesn't.
no,
It
because like
doesn't
you can't
because
teach a
it's
quick
all
you
you
can't
know.
you can't a lot of what these quarterbacks have is what we call a quick twitch, and a lot of people have to train years to get that ability. But and I will say, as African Americans, we are born. It's like we're almost born with that ability to have that quick twitch naturally.
Some of us
Some of us, yeah, of course.
at probably a higher sort of group propensity than maybe almost
And
anyone else.
It
and
comes it
I
comes
would say
naturally
I
almost.
would say and even with it being natural, we as we're growing up as kids, we're going outside playing with our friends, doing things that are geared towards being, geared towards quick twitch or geared towards, your agility or your ability to run fast. Like we do go outside. I remember racing, kids in my neighborhood for hours.
I'm gonna
You
give
know what
them
I'm
the
saying?
business. I'm gonna give them the
I
business.
remember, and it's not to say that other races don't do this. I'm not saying that. I'm just speaking from where I came from, of where seeing a group of kids come up and we all have the same exact abilities. I know guys that, wind up going to, playing college football. Some guys played overseas and we've all came up playing the same exact way. So like, it may be it may be a stretch. I don't have no scientific data behind it, but I'm just from the eye test, being a coach, seeing over, over the last, 10 years of coaching is like you know what the abilities are. And don't get me wrong, I've had some Caucasian kids come through and cold.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
they hold their own.
Oh yeah.
But it's almost far few in between. And when we do get those kids, we try to nurture them and be able to kind of push them forward, and they become better playing with us. I've had a young kid named Noah that kid we literally would tell him to shoot from half court, but he was not physical. He wasn't fast. But like after we got done working with him, going into his senior year, he was, he was a superstar. So like, it's just something that you see, and with these young quarterbacks coming out, Shador, Monroe, I'm sorry, Morrow, Jaden Daniels, even Caleb Williams, they all have one thing in common. They have the ability to improvise and have a ability to open up the game with their legs.
Ain't
And
lying,
a lot of these coaches are seeing it now. That's why the game is changing.
yeah,
That's why you don't hear that as much. Well, he should have hung in the pocket. No, oh, he's a playmaker.
yeah. I mean, Patrick
Yeah,
Mahomes. That's one thing they never spoke about Patrick Mahomes doing that. They never put him in that. Oh well, he should have did this, and they never gave him that guise of what he should have did, and he was doing too much. When he got in, they knew what he was, right? Oh, he
yeah.
can extend the play.
Well, that's what they want him to.
Yeah, he didn't do. But see, like you guys remember Steve McNair, and there's a
Right.
real good. I don't know if it's on Netflix or one of them, but the rise of the black quarterback. I was just looking at him, man. Uncle, what was the black kid? Dante Culpepper.
Culpepper, yep.
Culpepper was cold.
Cunningham.
Yeah, Culpepper was cold though, but Achilles Smith. So they had all these quarterbacks come in, Donovan McNabb, and talking on this interviews, and it was like, oh, we take the Wonderlic test, and this test means that you're not intelligent. This is all kind of crap that they use. But then, I saw TJ Husmanzada. He was like, look, you got to get in your playbook. He went to Achilles Smith's house. He got the whole playbook written down of what he could do with the options off of all these different plays. And when you look at it, he only got 17 games in the NFL to see if he could prove something. And he's out.
Well, see, here's the deal. And Caucasian people want to say, well, you want to talk about the color thing, but it is about color.
Yep. You
know good and well it is. So I just think, stop lying to yourselves and stop lying to the public. That's why I guess I do this podcast, because I'm adamant about what I talk about. I don't have anything against anybody, but I just call it like I see it.
Well,
now,
I'd like to offer a caveat. I'd like to offer a caveat.
What's the caveat?
I'm not sure that an option to the whole thing, a side idea, right? Okay, I'm not convinced that it's completely about race, right? Maybe to some degree, but I don't think completely. Okay. Part of it is timing. Part of it is slave import happenstance. Let me tell you what I mean, right? The ones that survived the trip over, pretty strong. The ones that could work the best in the field, exceptionally strong, work and survive, right? Exceptionally strong. And so fast forward about 100 years, when we were allowed to start competing as athletes and factor in the fact that they take the biggest, strongest guy and have him, go see the slave girls kind of thing, right? Well, you produce some pretty physically impressive kids, right?
Right.
Now, and that's why what is they call it the X factor in science, and it's called down south. You guys have probably heard this, the slave gene.
Yeah.
So every now and then a Bo Jackson pops up. Bo Jackson wasn't human, man. That ain't natural. That ain't normal. Okay, he was, Anyway.
Super
all right.
athlete.
So then, oh my goodness. So, and he's not the only one.
No.
There are more.
I was going to say, like, I got kids. I see kids like that now.
Right. So then you factor you have these guys before Jackie Robinson. Actually, Jackie Robinson wasn't the first black person to play in the big. No. I put the guy's picture. Fleetwood, somebody. Or somebody Fleetwood.
Lynn Fleetwood, was it?
I'll find it. And I'll either tell you guys or I'll bring it up next week. Right? He didn't play long. He was good enough to make it, but he didn't stick around long. But so when you put these guys, when we were not allowed to play in the major leagues, for instance, that's kind of where it happened first. And there was a time, even when I was a kid, everybody played baseball. Everybody played baseball.
Moses Fleetwood is his name. Moses Fleetwood. Yep.
Right. Yep. His birthday was about a month ago.
Yep. Toledo Hens.
Right. And so imagine you got a bunch of Bo Jacksons competing against each other, like in the Negro leagues or playing street ball or something like that. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy. And so all of a sudden, we're allowed into the major leagues officially starting in 1947 with Jackie Robinson, April 15th of 1947. There was a great American born on April 15th, by the way. Yep. But you look at 1947, and by the mid 70s, you're talking about 30, maybe 27, 28 years later, guys like Jackie Robinson had the majority of the important records, like the home run title, RBI title. Ricky Henderson came along and broke the stolen base title record, I should say.
Killed it.
Yeah. And so it's inevitable that partly because of, it's kind of a sensitive topic to talk about, But when you're the guy in charge forces the biggest, strongest guy to impregnate, as many as he can, right? Well, I mean, it's kind of gonna play out years later, right? I'll say this and get off of it. I was in Berlin at the time. I was stationed in Berlin, and I asked this question just because I was curious about it. And there was a guy, my buddy, a Caucasian guy. Okay, we're both air traffic controllers. We're kind of in the break room. I said, I don't understand why at the time, basically Black Americans dominated the sprints. I mean, nobody really talked about Jamaica back then.
Right.
Okay, they were talking about the 80s. Okay. But then you don't see any. Now, most of us, all of us came from Africa, right? But you don't see any African sprinters that made that much difference. But the best distance people in the world were Northern Africans, like the Moroccans and the
Algerians,
Ethiopians.
Moroccans, yep.
Yeah, they just the best of the world's ever seen, and we were the
Kenyans.
best sprinters the world. And we come from the same. We're all from the same continent, but how come ones who are west of the Atlantic sprint and weren't that good in distance, and the ones east of the Atlantic run distance and weren't that good in sprints?
Right.
And what my buddy said, he said, well, it's not just race, and it isn't. I believe that to the core, because I mean, you got guys like the Italian dude. What's the dude's name, Sam?
Oh,
The Italian.
from the black dude from he won the 100.
Pietro Manea. This was a little before your time.
Okay.
Your time,
not this time.
Not that guy. That guy's. Oh.
But I understand all that, Nate, but it still comes down to race.
Well, I got.
How do you
You
figure?
can argue me with that all you want. I'm not, and I'm going to tell you.
No, I'm
this.
just asking you. What do you base that on?
I got a little bit of a take on that, and I'm gonna sum it up to where it does kind of make sense to what Uncle was saying. So, where we go train, we have the facility has a whole football field, whatever, and we train some of the top kids here in Gwinnett County. Gwinnett County is a talent pool for like everybody. So the way a lot of these young kids are being trained are geared towards the way that Black quarterbacks are being trained right now. They want them to be more mobile. They want them to have, again, that quick twitch, that playmaking ability, because they're seeing like, oh, wait a minute, what he does naturally is a game changer.
Yeah, we have to learn how to do. That's not the way that they play.
They don't play like that. They don't come up like that. They don't have that ability. So now they're being taught. That's why you have Dylan, the kid Dylan in Nebraska. That's why you have the kid that plays at Georgia Tech, the quarterback King. I forgot the kid's name.
Arch Manning, all those kids.
Like now these guys are now becoming more mobile and stretching the plays out, which is fine. Like, okay, that's just part of the game. Like, you're gonna have to learn how to, keep up with the times. But where did that come from, though? Where did you see that? Oh, wait, that works. Like, oh, snap! Like, wait a minute. You instead of sitting in the pocket for 3 or 4 seconds, like now we can stretch it out to where you can now have a 6 to 7 second range. But as Black quarterbacks, like that's what we've been doing. We've been stretching out the game, or we've been having that ability to say, okay, well, you know what, I need to run now. Like that's just something that's just innately in our system. So like now we're teaching these guys how to do it. So that I think that's where Uncle is kind of drifting to. Like it is a racial thing. And I don't think it's a bad thing. Like me personally, I don't think it's a bad thing because it's just part of the game. But with as Black people now, we just keep evolving also.
Well, I'm gonna interrupt you really, really quick. Again, they always thought that we were not good enough to play quarterback in football. They always thought we weren't smart enough to play baseball. But that's my point, is that it's still comes back to race.
It comes back from the top, where the top is, hey, we don't want them leading your team.
Right. But now people spend thousands of dollars to buy season tickets to root for you, which is fantastic.
Or sometimes they just call you a nigga to your face. I don't
well,
know which
but
one
look-
you want.
Look at the Atlanta Falcons, right? Let's just take the Atlanta Falcons for example. They lost so much money after Michael Vick left. Like they had to have Matt Ryan come in to do well.
Well, I
keep
think
the fan
with
base.
baseball had to integrate. They
Oh,
had to
you had to.
integrate.
Well, the news, because they were two things with baseball. They had to, because they were barnstorming, right? So all those barnstormers, and then you get the writers were writing independently at the barnstorming events, and was like, look, these guys can really play. And
They
then
can
the
play,
white
they
guys
can
is like,
ball.
well, we don't know. So that got a lot of fanfare too, to the degree where it's like, yo, you have to like kind of get these guys in and change with the times, because the writers are writing about these guys, and it only took one or two to really, show some love a little bit, their kind of love in that kind of time. But yeah, they had to integrate because baseball
Because it was not
was stale.
Babe Ruth, several guys fought hard. They were very openly vocal about their opinion about how black people, the game, there should be no racial barriers.
Right.
That would include Latinos, Asians, if somebody, made it. Babe Ruth, they say that after he retired, he was kind of kept out of the game because they were afraid that he was going to have the position. He wanted to manage, but they never let him, because part of the reason is because they were afraid that he was going to keep wanting to let black players play. Right.
And he's been around.
Hank Greenberg was another one. There were a few that were open about, no, the game should not be integrated or segregated.
Right.
Because Hank Greenberg was because he was Jewish, he got discriminated against himself.
Right. Right.
And then, good old Ty Cobb with his racist self.
Super racist.
Oh my gosh.
Super racist.
And then, the greatest all-time hitter of all time, Pete Rose, they didn't like him because he befriended black people.
Yeah, he was talked to about that.
Well,
some say the greatest hitter, Pete, my all-time favorite non-Giant. There weren't many when I was a kid. If you weren't on the Giants, I didn't like you, But, Pete, yeah, he said I saw him in an interview. He said, hey, I got talked to, and they kind of wanted to talk to him about hanging out with the brothers too much, But they say certainly one of the all-time greatest hitters, because he had power, is Ted Williams. And Ted Williams, his mother was Mexican.
What?
Oh, what?
You didn't know that, did you?
No.
San Diego, California. His mom was Mexican. And theoretically, if his dad had been Mexican instead of his mom, and his last name was,
Flores
Gonzalez or something, yeah. Who knows if he would have been allowed the chances that he had? We don't know. Luckily, we didn't have to find out. But yeah, his mom is Mexican.
Wow, I did not know that. Go ahead.
I definitely didn't know that.
Well, I guess he's. Well, hey, it's crazy. Wow, that's.
Well, I guess I'm a little naive too. I would like to think that at some point in our lifetime, I probably will be dead and gone, that a player will not be judged because of the color of his skin.
Right. That's what we hope.
Because good and well, Johnny Redneck down there in Indianapolis or Alabama, he don't like it because you got a black quarterback. But you look at it, let's be real, and you got to be honest with it. Most of the college football players, quarterback down in Alabama is black.
Well, now, no.
Yeah, and the thing
Not
about
all
it
of
is,
them.
most of these coaches are not stupid. They should hopefully they're not. They know
Bear
when
Bryant
they
learned
talent
that.
when they see it.
Yep, that's
Well, yeah,
USC.
Bear
Bear
Bryant,
Bryant
when
runs very
when
quickly.
when Bam Cunningham went to SC and SC came down there and beat the brakes off of those dudes, and the SC back then would beat the brakes off of everybody, except at the end of the season, Cal or Stanford would upset them, and it probably cost them 3 or 4 national championships.
Yeah.
You know, because they were the best. But Bear Bryant, you know, Bear Bryant wasn't about to join the NAACP, if you know what I'm trying to be polite and not say.
Yep.
And he's when SC, I don't know, this was back in the maybe late 70s.
It's
Sam Cunningham, who was maybe
68.
late 60s or something, right? Sam Cunningham came out to SC, and then they went down to Alabama and beat the pants off of them. And that, they say, is what made Bear Bryant
We gotta
realize,
remember,
look, me being
USC
discriminatory is costing my team can be
all of
better.
them.
Right.
You know, my team can be better if I got past that. I mean, I don't know if his heart ever changed, but you know, he saw a chance to make his team better.
I think
And so
I think his heart did change. I think he did.
I hope so.
From what other people, it is amazing because
Well, I remember the great Reggie Jackson said that
what did he say?
the old coach for Alabama, what's his name?
Bear Bryant.
Right.
Nick Saban?
He called him a boy.
Yeah. I could believe that.
Right.
But it's
And then the other thing was,
but it's also the time though that we're talking about. Like you talking about the 70s. Hey, it was wild back. I mean, you gotta know.
I mean, I think you know, I didn't know. I mean, Reggie was on the forefront. You don't really think about Mr. October being on the forefront of racial injustice. I'm like, yo, he's on the
You know what? He played some of his. I think the A's, one of their minor league affiliates was in the Deep South, and Reggie was on national TV about a month ago for.
right.
You saw that. And he slipped. Well, I don't know if he slipped up. I think Reggie is kind of likes to put it out there, right? He's
Reggie
always
don't
been
care
like
no
that.
more. He don't care no more.
I don't know that he ever did care, but I mean, he's old now, and it's like, well, I'm really gonna shock you. and he used the N word, but not that ended in GGA, and he used the hard pronunciation,
The hard R.
the hard R, right? Yeah, and you know, twice actually. And saying that, you know, that person can't eat here, but they didn't say person, you know.
Right.
And,
I did see that. That was on ESPN.
Yeah, it was on ESPN. He was
that was a great one. That was a great one.
Well, I mean, he was just telling it that is how it is, and that is, according to him, exactly what was said. And he was saying that not to start the revolution, but saying that he would not want anyone to have to go through that. It was tough enough. Some might quit. Some might feel pressure and not perform on the field. Some might be inspired to perform even better. And he said that, you know what, looking back, he felt lucky to something along the lines of he felt lucky to have survived because, and he said this word for word. He said, you know what, I was physically violent and I would have whipped somebody's ass, and the next day they'd have found me swinging in a tree by the neck.
Right.
I could see that because I think everybody was like that. I think everybody at that time, you know, we always had to be. I say we because it's not a we, but I say we as in the collective, where it's like you have to be. Hey, no, sir, master. No, sir. Yes, sir. No, sir, man. Whatever, dude. Like it's one of those things where it's amazing that we have to do these things, and especially to be in a professional sports where you're a great baseball player and you're going against the umpires, the pitchers, the team, the bus, you're going up against everybody, man. So I can't even imagine to even have that pressure, and then to come out of that pressure and to be one of the best players to even play the game.
I mean, you know, I think it's safe to say that that's what made those guys great. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Like, we always rank players, and but like those guys for me just has just a little bit extra because we know what you had to go through.
Like you
Yeah,
got numbers in a hostile environment.
right. And for me, it's just like, like that mentally, the you had to have the fortitude to just keep going. Like a lot of people would have broke. A lot of people would just be like,
True.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
Actually, I think
gotta
a
stop.
lot of people did break.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, nobody can prove this, but some theorize that the best player there ever was Josh Gibson, right?
Correct.
Oscar Charleston, May said Oscar Charleston was the best player ever. Some people theorize that Josh Gibson, I mean, this guy is just, he's now the all-time, he has the highest batting average. A catcher has the all-time highest batting average in the history of baseball. They put him in front of Ty Cobb when they accepted the Negro League's records, right?
Right.
And Josh, he must have known. He must have, because he died in 1946, 7, or 8. I think 47 or 48. I think he died I think he died in late 46, early 47, something like that. So Jackie, he must have known that Jackie was getting ready to go, right? He's in the minor leagues, playing well, in the papers and all this kind of thing. And he died at 35, right?
Yeah.
That must have broken his heart. Here's a guy that hit a ball out, not over the fence, out of Yankee Stadium as an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
He had a cannon for an arm. He was strong defensively, and he has the highest batting average and thunderous power. I mean, who knows what that guy would have done? And from the catching position, that's crazy. That's really not even an offensive position, and you're the greatest offensive player maybe ever, right?
Right.
And a hell of a defensive player, and he didn't get the chance to play, right? Even his last year or two in the Negro Leagues, his statistics, he was on the decline. So there was no chance of bringing him back like they did Satchel Paige. And you just wonder how much what was a broken heart. He talked to people about wanting to play. He should have been able to play in the major leagues, kind of thing. So to live with a heavy heart like that, maybe the best ever, and you were born 10 years too early, right? And he
Right.
died at 35. So it's speaking of some that it may have broken down.
Yeah. They say he had a brain tumor, but I don't know. Yeah. I mean, yeah, his numbers is ridiculous. I mean, even
Right.
I mean, because baseball is, you could talk about basketball where it's like, hey man, it's easy to score 30. It's easy to score 4, whatever, right? It's easy to get 10 rebounds, whatever the rebounds. It's a little easy, right? It's simpler because you don't have to have the physicality as it is. But baseball is baseball.
They say that the most difficult task in sport is hitting a baseball, and here's evidence. If you are successful 3 times out of 10, you go to the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
3 times out of 10, you go to the Hall of Fame.
Batting average was 372.
Right.
That's 37%.
Career batting.
That's 37%.
Career batting average.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That is very good.
Well,
we will never see that again.
What's even more crazy though is that the greatest hitter of all, Pete Rose, died about a month or 2 ago. Never been in the Hall of Fame.
No.
And still they probably won't put him in for another couple of years.
Right, and I'm just saying that's a tragedy within itself.
I agree. That was mean spirited.
Yeah.
Right.
Like let it go.
And the other thing about it is, again, the greatest home run hitter known to man, Barry Bonds.
Still not. They gonna do him the same way.
They are going. Yeah, they're going to do him the same way. Now was Barry Bonds a jerk? Yeah, he was. But we're not talking about his personality. We're talking about his playing performance.
Well, there are steroid users in the Hall now.
Yeah.
You think? You can't tell me that Ivan Rodriguez didn't take steroids.
Hey, man.
That's why he got the name Slimrod.
You know what? Let's just do this. Let's just take Barry Bonds, the times that we didn't think that he took steroids, and his number still gets him into the Hall of Fame.
Bingo. That's it. Checkmate. Yep.
Yeah, I
Speaking of
think-
the all-time
Go ahead.
greatest sandwich at our guy Market at 504
East Belmont.
East Belmont
East
Avenue.
Belmont Avenue,
That's
Fresno,
right.
California.
Right. So checkmate, Javier, good call. Look at Barry's statistics before 2000, 2001. He was a 300 guy. Right. That puts you in.
Yeah.
Right.
Steals. I mean, he was an
Or-
all-around player. Steals.
Right. Maybe even 350. Yeah. Right.
So
Multiple time, had 1 or 2 MVPs already. Multiple, it's all-star every year. And
Yeah, I
so
mean-
in the same vein, they won't separate Pete's addiction for gambling. If you have an alcohol addiction or even a drug addiction, that will not slow down your entry into the Hall. Pete was addicted to gambling. He loved the rush, right? And they won't look past that. They won't look past Barry's alleged steroid use after 2001 or beginning in 2001 that probably extended his prime, right? But before then, that dude he'd have made it anyway.
If you would have took Barry Bonds' numbers, probably for the first 11 years, because he was MVP, what, 5-7 times?
yeah.
That within itself is unheard of.
Yeah. Like, he was the best of the best. I mean, that's
He
at the
was.
time when you had Ken Griffey. I mean, in that time you had some studs. You had some dudes that can,
Right.
so you were the best of the best with Cal Ripken. You were the best of the best with Ken Griffey. You would have all in their prime. These are all guys in their prime who were the best. Cal Ripken is one of the best guys that I've seen play third base and shortstop. Hey man,
He was, yeah.
like you can't, I've seen Barry play in person with Pittsburgh Pirates and with the Giants, and I was like, yo,
Right.
this dude he was nasty.
And he was just as good defensively.
Yep, and it was
Yeah,
like,
he was
man,
like a shortstop in left field.
that dude, man, I never seen nothing like him.
Played.
I never
good play.
see, and this is at the time where I seen Craig Biggio play. I seen what's the other kid, the Killer Bees? What's the other guy that they had? I seen Nolan Ryan play. I seen
Bagwell,
Yeah,
BGO.
that was all on the same team then. I
Right.
seen
And Berkman.
yeah.
And Berkman. Yeah.
So them
And
I
you
seen
can't
the
tell me-
dudes, man. And Barry,
Yeah,
Barry
no,
put them to shame.
the third baseman did steroids and still got in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Jeff Bagwell.
Wait.
Yeah,
Right.
Bags.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Bags. He got in the Hall. Yeah, Bags.
Right. Oh, there's a laundry list, guys.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Athletes will use, they say Barry started because he was a little bit perturbed about McGuire and Sosa getting all that attention,
Yep.
the home run year,
Yep.
right? And they were saying, oh, these are the best players. No, I'm the best.
Yep.
I'm the best.
It was his ego.
Don't
It was
be
his
fooled.
ego.
Right. So he does that, and next year he hits 73 home runs, right? I think because of his, sort of dour demeanor, the press took it out on him a little bit. Okay, we'll make him the face of steroids because we don't like him, because he won't give us
Right.
the interviews we want, or he's a jerk,
Right.
whatever, Yeah.
And that's unfortunate
But,
for
but
Barry.
he just didn't. I think with him and the media, he just didn't fall into their narrative. That
Right.
he was too. Again, Barry, I don't even think he was a jerk, because you got to listen. You got to think about what he was going through. Where, hey man, I got to get every interview, but these guys are writing in this narrative, and then it's a little condescending to me. So I think he was like, "Nah, I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna bow down to you because you're not respecting me as a man." That's what I think. I think
And
there's
I
a
think-
little.
I think he had a little jerk in him.
There is a little
I-
jerk.
Well,
But you have
and
to
the
be a
other- the other
jerk.
thing, guys, is that Barry was a very smart guy, very articulate guy,
Right.
very, very smart guy. You got to remember, he went to Arizona State.
What does
You
that
know,
mean?
but and he saw what they did to his dad.
Oh
They
yeah.
wrote all that horrible stuff about Bobby Bonds. But Bobby Bonds, unfortunately, was an alcoholic too.
Right.
Yeah, he had a
You
little
know,
problem with booze. He could play.
but
He could play.
again, you can't take away from his accomplishments. And at one point, steroids were illegal.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
They were illegal.
Bobby was an athlete. Bobby jumped 25-3, long jump 25-3 in high school.
Yes.
Who does that?
That's
And-
like best in the country kind of thing. Yeah.
Right. And you know, but you know, it's kind of funny as time goes by. And I hope to God that Pete Rose, they put him in the Hall of Fame. You know,
Me too.
probably, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 years go by, and they'll say, oh, well, you know, Pete Rose, but Pete Rose had no talent. If you're going to
Yeah, he
compare
was
him
not
to Ken
terribly
Griffey,
athletic. He wasn't
Nope.
athletic.
No,
That goes
that's
back
my
to
point.
that. That goes back to that. What we just said about quick twitch movements.
right? But he was the greatest hitter, period, known to man.
Yeah.
Probably the greatest ball player overall. I'd say Willie Mays.
Right.
I agree with that.
You can go, you ask some of the old timers, and you look at some of the, see, I guess I'm a baseball buff, like religiously, because, you know, you look at all these go, because Ted Williams said, oh, Willie Mays is the best. He's the best. So
Many
I guess,
people said that.
again,
Ted
several players
also
have said, Go
Ted
ahead.
said, you know, he was very humble. He was Marine, you know, he was all man kind of guy, you know, very humble, right? Not underspoken, but certainly spoke. He always humble. Okay, never bowed down. Was hitting over 400 on the last day of the season. They said, well, the manager asked me wanted to sit out. I said, heck no, I'm not sitting out. I want to go in, or maybe even a doubleheader, but certainly at least one game. He went in and went like 3 for 4, 4 for 5 or something, you know, right?
Mm.
But Teddy Ballgame said that, you know what, because he'd heard that he's the greatest hitter of all time, right? He said, I don't believe that. He said, you know what? And he made a list. He went down the list. He said, you know what? It's enough for me to be put in the same breath, in the same sentence as Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Willie Mays, and Hank Aaron. Those are the 4 that he named. Maybe there was a 5th, but he just didn't go with, you know, who was the best. Maybe he said Mays was the best. I'm not sure, right? Maybe it was a different
he
interview.
did say it.
Oh, okay.
And you know,
Lots
for
of
a
people
fact,
did. I agree with
Mays
it. I
is
think
the
Mays is
best.
the best all around. Oh, no, that's for sure.
all around. All
Mays
around.
missed 2 seasons, 2 prime seasons, and he spent his entire career. Now, all respect to my nephews in Atlanta. Okay. A buddy of mine, my old boss in the Air Force, one of the guys I worked for, we were stationed in Korea together. We're still in touch on Facebook. He grew up in not Atlanta, but Georgia somewhere. He said Hammer and Hank was the best. I said, listen, Willie played in 2 of the most impossible parks to go deep out of. The Polo Grounds is 460 feet to center field. Normal is like 400 or 410. Then he came out to super windy Candlestick blowing in from left field.
Mm-hmm.
Then he missed 2 prime seasons. Mays would have hit 900 home runs, would have had 2,500, 2,700 RBIs, and stole probably 450 bases. Okay. And would have had an extra, like instead of 12 gold gloves, 14. Unheard of for a center fielder.
Now,
Right.
now with all due respect, Hammer and Hank was a great ball player.
Great.
Because Hammer and
Great.
Hank hit line drives. He got it creeped up on everybody. Because you didn't hear about him, you know, coming up, you hear about Hank Aaron, but not like he was Willie
consistent.
Mays.
You weren't going to hold him under 35. He's going to hit 35 to 40 every year.
Always,
Right.
always. His whole thing was consistent.
The difference is, but people don't know this. I've been to Atlanta. Atlanta is high altitude. What's the altitude in Atlanta, guys?
1100.
1,100. It's over 1,000 feet. Well, Candlestick, is like sea level.
Sea level.
And with
Right.
wind blowing in,
Yeah, from the Bay.
and so Atlanta was Colorado of its day.
Right.
Okay, so it's
Mm.
easy to hit home runs there. Aaron
And-
got pissed at Mays one time
And the Heat.
because after the Heat, it was like you can't hit home runs anywhere in California at night. It's like impossible, right? Because of the
Density
all the
of the air.
stadiums are like close to the water. Well, it's the marine layer they call
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It makes balls die. In Atlanta, it makes balls take off. It helps you hit home runs. They say it cost Mays probably 200 to 250 home runs, the air and the wind blowing in. Right,
Dang.
he hit 660. Well, heck, that's 900 right there. If he played in a regular park, he might have hit 1,000. So there would be no debate who the greatest is. 1,009, let's say 900 home runs.
Yeah. Like
450, maybe 500 steals. I mean, there's nobody does that. Impossible. That's never going to happen.
yeah, I mean
Okay.
660 is a crazy number anyway.
Sure it is.
Especially from a guy from his size with his frame, with his
Right.
So like he's again another superhuman.
There you go. There it is.
That kid, I mean,
In high school,
guy.
he was quarterback. He could throw 70, 75 yards.
right.
He was a quarterback.
We got to wrap it up. Want to
All
thank
right.
everybody for this podcast. Big Sam and Nephews. Also want to thank our sponsor, My Guy Market at 504 East Belmont Avenue here in good old Fresno, California, where I
Yeah.
live.
Mate
My
sandwich.
nephews live down in Atlanta. My good buddy Nathan Marlowe lives up in Sacramento, where I was
What
raised.
up?
And
I was raised
we
there
had a
too,
good
man.
conversation
Hold on.
today. What's up? I really quick. I had to work
70.
last night. I had to work a Latino concert, great concert. It's funny because these girls want to go in the men's bathroom, right? Who does that? But they do. So I got to kick them out of the bathroom, and so these one girls got mad because I kicked them out of the bathroom. Out of the bathroom.
Mm.
So
What do they want to go in there for?
because they got to go use the bathroom,
Because you gotta wait. You gotta wait for a woman's potty.
right?
Yeah.
Well, then my point is, don't drink so much beer.
Yeah.
But anyway, who
That
cares?
was good.
Another day. We'll keep it rolling. Thanks a lot, everybody, for being on the podcast today. Please subscribe to this podcast. More and more people, I check all the time. More and more people are subscribing to the podcast. It's a good podcast, friendly podcast.
Send ideas about what you want to hear us talk about.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a Discord server so we could talk more. So where people
All
can
right.
join in. I just
Sure.
got to figure out how to do it and how to promote more our podcast.
There you go. That's why you get paid the big bucks.
Look
Yep.
out.
Checks in the mail.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks a
Awesome.
lot, everybody.
All right,
God
guys.
bless you all. We'll see you next Sunday.
Next
Next
Sunday
Sunday.
it is.
Big Sam and Nephews.
We have
Signing off.
Peace
Peace
out.
out.
All right, then.
All right. Bye-bye.
Oh